Hey, all, Rowdy here with the second in my video series on the Elite Dangerous ship bridges or cockpits in VR. First up is Faulcon Delacy's Anaconda, so let's try that one out. As I did before, just a really standard practice of looking around in the chair there, just to see what kind of view you have from the cockpit. And as you can see, really wide view and a really tall view up and down, and it's just a huge bridge. You could probably play soccer on this thing. It's very large, a couple of different positions, and probably could add easily additional positions to it. And you can see just a wide view sitting up here on the top of this ship. So let's get up and move around a little bit. And here we go. We're gonna look around a little bit, and I'm turning around so you can see the co-pilot's chair, one of them anyway, on the right side. Really interesting setup there. I'm not too sure what exactly that station would be for, but looks like ship systems or something like that. You can see the one on the left side there, and we'll move over there a little bit closer in a minute. And you can see again, really wide view. As you get in here, very large. Just a lot of bridge space. And you can see what would be the elevator over there in the back. And there's more back behind all that. Not really sure what, but seems to be quite a bit anyway. As we come back around, I'm working my way back behind the pilot's chair. Again, I'm in a VR headset, an Oculus headset, so I have to be careful moving around a little bit. But you can see, move around. It's pretty cool. It's big. This one, I brightened it a little bit, but I didn't have to do too much extra work on the video itself. But it looks bright and clean, actually. So that's very interesting. And as we come back around, we're coming around to the other side of the chair. Again, taking a look at that station. Looks like they could actually put additional stations back further even. If you look at the floor space, the deck space there, you see it looks like there's room for doing some of that. As we come back around, again, not really sure. Looks like maybe ship systems or something like it. I'll look at it now. One of the things about the Faulcon ships is they have this keyboard with the pilot on every one of their ships. That's a standard QWERTY keyboard. I would hope in 3302 we've moved beyond the keyboard. It's a little odd, And in fact, you'll see in some of the ships it's out of the reach of the pilot. But at any rate, it's there. Not really sure why. It's a little odd. If anyone could help me understand that, I'd appreciate it, but I haven't quite figured that out. I thought it was the oddest thing when I first saw that way back when I first started. Okay, next up are the Cobras. First is the Mark III, and you'll see that these are basically the same, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, particularly the Mark IV. Nice thing about it, it is surprisingly, considering the size of the ship, it is surprisingly a relatively good size bridge. Again, we're just sitting in the chair here. We're looking around, left, right, up, down, and you can see as I stretch my neck back to look back, you see there's a lot of space back there. There's a console back there as well. Another co-pilot's chair. There's that keyboard again. I'm going to keep pointing that out because it annoys me a little bit. And there it is again over here. And we look up, you can see the wide view up top. And from the recording here, you're not seeing actually the entire view that you see in VR, because there is so much more that the video just can't capture it all. But you see a good portion of it. Again, I'm just standing and doing a 360 view. There's some controls at the top of the ceiling there around for the systems. I'll take a closer look at it as we get back there further. Can you see, just doing a little 360 turnaround. Alright, I'll come back around. console there as well. Again, it's a systems console. On one of these videos I look a little bit closer at it. On both sides they look basically the same. Come back here a little bit. Not too much of a console or controls for the Copilot that you can see so far. More controls in the bottom of the center console. I suppose there'd be a HUD for the Copilot as well. Yeah, and that console basically said module statuses, and it had the statuses of each of the modules. Alright, we'll work our way back around. Here's the headless pilot. I took the head and I'm walking around now. I come back around again, that crazy keyboard. I always pick out one thing in these ships that from each of the manufacturers that kind of is a little weird. Well, that's that keyboard in these ships. Again, online statuses. These are all the ship systems. That's all it says. And you can see, so a lot of space in this in the Cobras. And again, they're basically the same. As opposed to some of the core dynamic ships, the smaller ones that we looked at. Here there is a lot of space. Alright, so next up would be the Mark IV. And you'll see it is essentially the same. Maybe a tad bit different, a little bit more controls, knobs, and things around, but the layout is the same. What's could be noted there is I looked down. You'll note that there was no the consoles on the chair for the pilot on this one is on the Mark IV is in just a white color. It's not in color. There's multiple colors in all the other ones. This is the only one that doesn't have that. So I don't know if that's an error that they'll fix later or not, but this one is only that white color. And you can back up the video to take a look at that again. So I thought that was unusual. Alright. And we'll come back around again. The view in this cockpit is pretty good. You don't have as much a view around the sides, but you have a very tall view. Again, on this, you can see these consoles too in the back. On the Mark III, they're in color. In the Mark IV, they are not. Figure that out. So I really think that's just an error in the program itself that they'll eventually fix. Remember that you saw them in the red, the green colors. You don't have any of that here. All right, turn back around. Again, same thing. That's why I took a second look at it, because I'm trying to think as I was recording this. I was wondering what's up with that. So. Same thing, that center console, same thing. It's just in black and white and not color. And same with the console on the top there on the ceiling of the cockpit. It's in black and white and not color. As you can see, looking at it there, black and white again. All right, and there it is. There's another shot of the pilot's seat. All right, that's it for that. Next up is a Python. This one I really like. Again, looks like air vents there on the left. You can see everything's back in color again. That was the only ship, the Mark IV, that I saw that in for Faulcon Delacy. So. Again, the Python, it's obvious that the Copilot will have a HUD display. It's set up for that. Pretty much the same as the pilot seat. Coming back around. Now this is the one of the Faulcon ships that does not have the keyboard, I believe. We'll look at it again, but I don't think it does. Everything else does, but this one doesn't. Or at least I'm pretty sure everything else does. Lots back behind the pilot, as you can see in the Python. Pretty good view as well. And if we look down and around, you can see a lot of system consoles in the back. Another odd thing I find with some of these ships, look at the cables down there in the center behind the center console. Just, you know, cables running along the floor. It's a little odd. You'd think that those would be, you know, stuffed away somewhere or below the, you know, they're just running along the floor for you to trip over, right? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a few ships like that. Again, really, I like the backside here where you have all these consoles and screens laid out. And the co-pilot has, again, like I said before, has essentially the same setup. As you can see as we come back around, very similar. And we'll come back around here to the other side of the pilot's chair. Just give a little bit different view. Taking my time here because the view here really is very good. Again, you don't see as much of the upper as I did in the, I'm trying to show you a little bit of that, as I did when I was in the Oculus, the top side or the right side in this case. Again, console view, some graphs back there on that console. I'll make my way back around the other side in a moment, but again, I really liked this ship, the total view of it. You don't generally see otherwise. Carefully making my way around my own chair by my desk. And just another console view. Again, lots of space. All right. And taking a look, coming back to sit down. So a lot of view, a really good view, large, relatively large space. Next up, Sidewinder. Everyone's familiar with this one. This is the first one you get into when you start the game. So I think everyone is. There's a little thing that looks like a kind of like a gun sitting over on the left side, sitting in that little holster type of thing. But this ship, again, a good view, especially up top. Really kind of tight, which it should be. It's a single seater. As you can see, there's that keyboard. Guess you can reach over there and type some message out with one hand. And then, which I wouldn't be very good at, by the way. And as you can see, there's a little, what looks like maybe a scanner of some sort or a weapon of some sort. Standing up here, my head is obviously above the canopy. Again, in VR, it's not going to keep me from going up there, but so normally you shouldn't be able to stand in this ship straight up. You'd be kind of ducking a little bit, so you'd be ducking and making your way out that door behind the pilot seat. Of course, you have you saw there down below your owner's manual or pilot's manual and your cup of coffee on either side. All right, and Not on either side, just on one side, I guess. So pretty good view there. Still, for a small ship it is, there's some pretty good space in here, as opposed to something like the Eagle. All right. And then we'll come back. Again, I'm up above the canopy. And we'll sit down here. It's a nice clean bridge area. And we're on with the Vipers now. Mark III is up. Again, these ships are the same, both Mark III and Mark IV. Again, you saw the center the console there with the color. So, like I said, the Cobra Mark IV does not have that. Again, single-seater. Pretty similar space to the Sidewinder. Some storage areas there on the left side. Sitting, pretty far back from the console itself, the front console. And I'll do that 360 turn. Again, you see the door behind. This one you can stand up in. It's tall enough where you can stand up and not appear to be outside the canopy. Really clean behind. There's no consoles of any type, really. A vent or something here with a handle. Vents on the floor. All right, and then I'll come back around here. Really kind of taking it easy around that chair so I don't trip and fall on it. I did run into my green screen a couple of times as I come back behind the chair. I kept running into that green screen, but you can see about as far as I can go with the Oculus is right about there, and then the cable is a little bit too short to go any further back, so I go as far back as I can. And we'll come back, sit back down, and the next one up will be the Mark IV, Viper Mark IV. And again, pretty similar. We're just going to do a really quick look on this one, just to make sure we cover them all. See if there are any of those minute differences like you saw between the Cobra Mark III and IV with the color consoles versus the black and white consoles. But there aren't any of those differences on this. This is the same. Oh, and by the way, no keyboard. So the Vipers and the Pythons of the Falcon ships do not have the keyboard. Interesting. Again, let's figure that one out. For some reason I thought they all did, but apparently not. I got so stuck on looking at the first one, I couldn't get my mind off of it. All right. And I did see them long ago. It always amazes me every time I get in these ships and see that keyboard there. So it might be interesting if it was some kind of new type of keyboard or something, but it's not. It's a QWERTY keyboard. All right. Well, enough of that. So we're about done here. I'm going to come back up here to the front of the seat here in a moment, and I'll sit down. Those are the Vipers. And that is about it for the Faulcon Delacy ships. Next time we'll pick up with the Lacon Spaceways. That group of ships makes up the Explorer, or the ASPs I should say, the Diamondback, and all the transporter ships up through Type 6, 7, and 9 and Keelback. Hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.